Hey folks, I am off to get my up pipes foil wrapped, and what that is going to do for me, it's going to offer some thermal protection, not protection, I'm going to try to keep the heat down in my engine bay, and that's what that's going to do. This is coming off the heels of me getting it ceramic coated too, so my buddy does prototyping and exhaust design for some major big name companies. I'm not gonna say because I don't know if he wants me to say it. So he said bring them down and we can give it a go to try foil wrapping. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do right now. So give me fuel, give me fire, give me power. Alright, I'm at the shop. I'm doing the non-so-glamorous stuff right now. It's like 90 degrees out right now and a lot of humidity. I just got here, so I'm not dripping with sweat yet. Come back to you guys on that. So, I guess I'll show you what I got going on. This was foil wrapped, which would be my up pipe to the turbo, and hopefully I can get that alternator back in. And what else do we got going on? We have fuel lines kind of ran. They're just kind of up there, not cinched in or anything. I got I'll just run you through exactly what we got going on. We got two -6 feed lines that come into a Y, which goes into -8 to -10. This is a union right here into Motion Raceworks fitting, which goes back down to -10 to -8, a little short line into my filter right here, kind of zipped up with a nut right now, so it doesn't flop all over. I'll circle back to that in just a moment. Then continues life on as a -8 and then goes up through the wheel well, and it goes up through here, through a grommet, and then up to the engine. The other line that's coming back is a -8 return all the way back. Some other notable things, see right here, I got a charcoal box, exhaust hangers, and where'd the charcoal box go? 370. It was right back over here. What else I do? Took off the heat shield here. The hangers are gone. There's another one over here because they had dual exhaust. I'm not running dual exhaust on this because right up here off this turbo, I'm just going to do a fender dump right off of my turbo here. Come back a little bit, right out the side. All right, now I'll lower this down. As I was saying, up through the fender, I come up here. It was a single -8, but then I go into another fuel block right here. Where I go up and do a 45 and a straight. Yeah, I do a straight into fuel rail. Yes, that goes into the fuel rail. And then it does the same thing on the other side. And then comes out of the rail into my fuel pressure regulator. And then it goes back to the -8 fuel return, which I showed you already. Okay, so when we come inside the car here, we can actually see some of the lines here. I did a 45 degree off of the top hat of the CJM fuel hat. Actually, it's a twin fuel pump assembly. You see this one right here is the -8, where it has the arrow pointing to the right. That is, it was modified slightly so it can accommodate the -8. I had a bunch of -8 line. I talked specifically with Charles, which would be the owner of CJM. And he said you only need like a -6 up to like something like 1200 horsepower. I might be running a little bit more than that. But you could see here, there's a 180 on this right here. All this is PTFE, by the way. Right there, -6. And the other one I just said, that's -6. So, yeah, that's the fuel setup. I probably gotta drop this tank once again so I can put a breather filter on. So aside from that, dropping the tank and putting the filter on one of these guys so it can actually breathe. When you're pumping fuel out of the tank with two quite large pumps, you have to have air come in as it as you pump the fuel out. So it's got to be replaced with some sort of other volumetric stuff. You have to replace what was going out with some air, right? Doing that, it was previously hooked up to the charcoal can. I showed you that. That's removed. Oh, and other news, I'm gonna pull the wiring harness right here. Let me just come over here and show you. This right here is my wiring harness. It's all MS3. This was off a G35, I think. The reason why I needed this guy is actually I threw out my old wiring harness. So this wiring harness will actually go back into right over here in there, and I'll have to push the MS3 wiring harness through that. Why didn't I just buy like a grommet and find some old G35? Well, you can't buy them. So I tried calling Z1, see if they had any kind of cars that they picked apart. They didn't. I actually talked to my buddy. He was kind enough to send me one, so I'm gonna use that until I can actually use a Maven Performance. It's a mil-spec connector. If I don't have time to do that, that's gonna be a winter project. There's a lot of work to be done, so I probably shouldn't be talking into the camera. Welcome back, folks. I don't have a running car still, but maybe I can show you exactly where I'm at. Lots have changed since the last video.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying?
As you can see, throttle bodies are off. Those are off, getting some finished welds, so that will be it for the cold side. Oh yeah, I have a water merge right down here is getting welded up, so I'll add some pictures right here. Picture. As you can see, there's a kind of a wiring mess all over it. That's actually a good thing. Some of this is a MS3 wiring harness, so it is actually a complete wiring harness. That is the entirety of it. So it's all machine done. It's high quality. As far as I'm concerned, it's one of the best. It has really nice loom. All the fuel lines, they're ran. Fraggle for most everything, but I'm actually using hot rod fuel line for this. Anything that you see that's yellow checked like this is actually hot rod fuel hose. I'll post a link in the comments. It's PTFE line. I wanted to do that so I don't have any issues with the E85s nibbling away at my line so it leaks later. So, and they're good for high pressure. So I did the same thing for the fuel return line, which is probably gonna get this car up in the air here momentarily. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff happening under here. I don't think I showed you for a while, so I'll just do a recap. Right here's my scavenger pump. Here's a filter for the scavenger pump. Both are TurboWorks. I have my Black Sheep Industry wastegates right here. All right, so this BSI right here is not typical. The casting is, but having it white lettering inside there, that was kind of a ridiculous move I decided to do. I decided to paint inside there with high temperature paint and clear it. Here's my oil collector that actually does go inside. Right here, the scavenger pump sucks it from the merge, which comes off the turbos. I'm kind of working reverse here if you haven't noticed. So oil drains out, goes into this round tube. AN lines were put on both ends. So basically oil flows into this. Hopefully there's a little bit of a cooling effect here because this is aluminum. It gets sucked out of this, goes through here, suck into the scavenger pump, and then on top side of the pump comes up, comes down, goes into the pan, gets pumped into the pan. So yeah, that's a lot of movement. Down here, this was a pain in the butt getting this alternator on, because if you notice, there's not a lot of room right there. I actually had to grab a hammer and make a persuasive argument, the heat wrap that I made. So this alternator could just barely fit. This is actually an ultra small alternator that Holley makes. Well, it's their compact high RPM alternator. So I don't think it gets much smaller than that. So if I couldn't make that work, I would have been screwed. A bit of room in between that, but all is good. Oh, yes, I made enough room. I'm gonna plug that in now. Plugging this in now. Gotta unsnap that. This is from my wiring harness. Bam! Dang, that was way too easy. I need more stuff like that. All right, what else? Custom oil pan. There's a different video on that. That was a severe pain in the ass. You need light for this. Let me see if this, there we go. All right, so this is a PTFE-6 line that was used for the transmission. And Man, I have to use this on wide view, so I hope you guys, hope this comes out good. So we got the to and from line for the PTFE line. I used some Zerk nuts in here and zip ties. And I actually learned from Clapped Out that you can get flush cutters, and you will not cut yourself if you do that. Kudos to them for sharing that information. If you notice that the underside of this is extra black, I used VHT black paint on the underside of this, a little bit of extra protectant. Okay, what else is new is, hey, look, there's a whole bunch of cavernous area right here where it's completely missing a drive shaft. No worries, Drive Shaft Industries is going to get me a, what is it, a 41" and a quarter drive shaft that comes off my 4L80E that goes all the way into, directly into this pumpkin right here. This is a pinion flange. They said that they'll have a pinion flange that comes directly off of that, and I can bolt it up. And there's a yoke that goes into this other side, so basically we'll be all done with that. Coming back, you saw that there's, I was saying that there's PTFE lines coming from the transmission line. It ends up back here where I have some custom mounts that I had to make for my my coolers. So right here's my transmission line cooler. Here I have my PTFE lines, of which I have to put ends on and adapt it into this cooler. No big deal. This is a CSF drag racing radiator. This is actually a really cool thing that, at least I think it's cool. A 3-inch CSF radiator that is mounted under my trunk. Now why would I need that there? Here are my 2 air-to-water intercoolers. So I have these lines coming out of here, and then I'll be ran back to this back end over here for cooling. Hopefully I'm gonna be able to use this radiator. I made a mount for this too. It's terrible. There it is. It actually came with mounts, but I had to bend it to make it work. You see there's a little air gap up there, so I'll be able to get some airflow from behind it and suck it through, blow out. There goes the heat. Alright, I had to redo the air-to-water coolant lines. I actually just went with something a lot smaller versus using this inch inside diameter. Was it inch and something bigger? Inch and a quarter, I think, or external diameter. But anyways, I was making things impossible. As you see, looks like things worked out a whole lot nicer using the 1/2 inch inside diameter. It's 3/4 external diameter. I actually had to reduce these fittings here went from inch to 3/4 to 1/2 inch. So I had to do that on both sides. So now the bumper fits on. Awesome. Not so much there because it's missing the clips. This is still the dummy fender. I have the other one at my house. So yeah. Okay, a real quick walkthrough on the water on the side. Alright, so I got my pump here. Air to water radiator right here, which is a CSF. Comes over here, -16, pumps out 3/4 inch. Here's my 2 lines here, 1 inch return, which is not hooked up. My 3/4 inch line for pumping. Don't mind this little stuff, it's gotta be cleaned up yet. I have some of the lines cleaned up under here. Blub, 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 blub. Comes over here. I'm gonna use some actual Fragola -16 by the hot side right over there because I don't want the stuff to melt. I gotta adapt that. And I'll got my 3/4 inch line that goes up top through the fender. You can kind of see it there. And feeds. Well, how about I just lower it here? Okay, I got my cold side right here. This is that 3/4 inch line I was talking about. Comes out from the bottom side down there, feeds in through the fender right now anyways, kind of stays out of the way, and then comes around down there, and then comes into here, which has goes from 3/4 to inch, pumps in here, And this is the drain side, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, and both sides eventually come to this water merge, and then goes into 1 inch, follows around, comes in right here, push lock right here to a swirl pot. This is also the fill station, and then eventually, see, I got a dash 16 180, so that is gonna actually have a line that goes somewhere over here, which I was talking about for the return. So that dash 16, which was down over there, not hooked up, it'll have to be adapted from Fragola to 1 inch line, which will look a lot like this.